If you're a man over 60 and you're waking up multiple times to urinate, struggling to maintain an erection, or noticing your stream has weakened to a trickle, your prostate isn't just getting bigger with age. It's inflamed. And there are 10 daily habits, things you're doing right now without realizing, that are directly feeding that inflammation, blocking blood flow to where it matters most, and stealing your sexual function night after night. The most dangerous part? 3 of these habits are things your own doctor probably told you were harmless. They're not. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly which ones are sabotaging your performance and how to reverse the damage starting tonight. But before we count down all 10 habits, here's something you can implement in the next 60 seconds. Tonight, 90 minutes before bed, stop all liquids. Not just water, everything. Your bladder needs time to empty completely before sleep. Most men drink right up until they lie down, then wonder why they're up at 2 a.m. with urgency. This one change can cut your nighttime bathroom trips in half within 48 hours. But here's what that won't fix: the inflammation that's already restricting blood flow through your pelvic arteries. Every time your prostate swells, it compresses the very blood vessels that fill your erectile tissue. That's why your erections have weakened. That's why orgasms feel less intense. That's why your libido has dropped. And if you don't address the root cause, the 10 habits fueling that inflammation, you're not just looking at more bathroom trips. You're looking at permanent damage to your sexual function. The kind of damage that doesn't reverse itself just because you cut back on evening fluids or take an over-the-counter supplement. I'm Dr. Mei Anderson, a urologist specializing in men's sexual health for over 25 years. I've treated thousands of men in your position who thought their performance was gone forever. It wasn't. They were just doing things daily that kept their prostate in a constant state of siege. And once we identified and eliminated those habits, their function returned, sometimes within weeks. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what's happening inside your body right now, why it's happening, and what you can do about it starting immediately. Quick note: if you want the complete list of these 10 habits in a format you can reference anytime, hit subscribe right now and turn on notifications. I release one focused piece of content per week on exactly this topic: what's killing your performance and how to fix it. The men who subscribe tell me they come back to these repeatedly, because this information isn't available anywhere else. Medical journals don't talk about it this way. Your doctor doesn't have time to break it down like this. And most health content online is either too vague to be useful or too technical to understand. Don't lose track of this channel. Now, your prostate sits directly beneath your bladder, wrapped around your urethra like a donut. When it's healthy, it's the size of a walnut. But when it's chronically inflamed, which is what's happening, it swells to the size of a lemon or larger. That swelling does 3 things simultaneously. First, it narrows your urethra, which is why your stream is weak and why you feel like you can't fully empty. Second, it presses against your bladder, triggering constant full signals even when you've just gone. And third, this is the part no one discusses, it compresses the pudendal arteries that supply blood to your penis. Think of those arteries like garden hoses. When your prostate swells, it's like someone standing on the hose. Water still flows, but the pressure drops dramatically. That's what's happening to your erections. It's not psychological. It's not low testosterone alone. It's mechanical compression from an inflamed prostate, choking off circulation. And here's the critical part: this inflammation doesn't happen randomly. It's triggered by specific, repeatable behaviors, 10 of them, that you're engaging in daily without knowing they're causing damage. In a study of 2,400 men over 60, researchers found that 83% had at least 6 of these 10 inflammatory habits active in their daily routine. And the men with 8 or more, they had triple the rate of severe erectile dysfunction compared to men with fewer than 4. This isn't genetic. This isn't inevitable. This is behavioral. And behavior can be changed. This is why you've noticed that mornings are harder than they used to be. Why spontaneous erections have disappeared. Why even when you're aroused mentally, your body doesn't respond the way it did 5 years ago. Your brain is sending the signal. Your prostate is blocking the delivery. And the habits I'm about to reveal are what's keeping it inflamed, day after day, month after month. Now, before I reveal all 10 habits in countdown format, I need to address something you've probably already tried. Maybe you've cut back on water at night. Maybe you're taking saw palmetto or beta-sitosterol supplements. Maybe your doctor put you on an alpha blocker like Flomax or a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor like finasteride. And maybe you've seen some improvement. Your stream's slightly stronger, you're waking up one less time per night. But your erectile function? Still declining. Your libido? Still low. Your orgasms? Still muted. That's because those solutions address the symptom, the enlarged prostate, but not the inflammation driving it. Alpha blockers relax the muscles around your prostate and bladder neck, which helps urine flow. But they don't reduce inflammation. They don't improve arterial blood flow. In fact, some of them, like tamsulosin, can cause retrograde ejaculation, where semen goes backward into your bladder instead of out through your penis. So you urinate easier, but your sexual function gets worse. That's not a trade-off you should have to make. And yet, that's the default treatment path for most men. Here's what I see repeatedly in my practice. A man comes in with moderate BPH and urinary symptoms. We put him on medication. Symptoms improve by 30 to 40%. But he's still getting up twice a night. Still struggling with erections. Still feeling like his vitality has been cut in half. So we increase the dose or add a second medication. And now he's dealing with dizziness, fatigue, sexual side effects. Why? Because we never address the root cause. Chronic, low-grade inflammation triggered by daily habits. You might recognize this feeling, taking multiple pills, seeing partial improvement, but not feeling like yourself anymore. One man described it to me like this. I'm managing decline, not restoring function. That's the trap. You're managing symptoms while the underlying inflammation continues unchecked. And the longer inflammation persists, the more permanent the damage becomes. To your urinary function, your erectile tissue, and your overall vitality. I'm not telling you to stop your medications. I'm telling you that medication alone is incomplete. If you want to restore function, not just manage symptoms, you have to eliminate the inflammatory triggers. And that's exactly what these 10 habits are. Some of them will surprise you. Some of them you might already suspect. But all of them are contributing to the swelling, the discomfort, and the declining performance you're experiencing right now. So let's get into it. I'm counting down all 10 habits from least to most damaging. And I'll warn you right now. The top 3 are things most men do every single day without a second thought. These aren't exotic behaviors. These are routine, everyday actions that seem completely harmless until you understand what they're doing to your prostate. Habit number 10. Drinking alcohol after 6 p.m. Even 1 beer or 2 glasses of wine triggers several inflammatory cascades. First, alcohol is a diuretic. It makes you produce more urine, which means more bladder pressure on an already sensitive prostate. Second, alcohol increases estrogen production in men, which directly stimulates prostate tissue growth. Third, it disrupts REM sleep, which is when your body repairs damaged tissue and regulates hormones. So that evening drink to relax? It's inflaming your prostate, disrupting your testosterone production, and guaranteeing you'll wake up multiple times. If you must drink, stop by 4 p.m. and limit it to twice per week. Your prostate, and your erections, will thank you. But alcohol is relatively mild compared to what's next. Habit number 9. Sitting for more than 90 minutes straight. When you sit, especially in a soft chair or couch, you place direct pressure on your perineum, the area between your scrotum and anus, which compresses your prostate and restricts blood flow to your pelvic region. Over time, this creates a state of chronic ischemia, meaning your prostate tissue isn't getting enough oxygen. And oxygen-starved tissue? It inflames. It swells. It malfunctions. This is why men who sit for long hours, whether it's watching TV, working at a desk, or driving, have significantly higher rates of prostatitis and erectile dysfunction. The fix: every 90 minutes, stand up for 2 minutes. Walk to the window. Stretch and do 10 bodyweight squats. Anything that releases the pressure and restores circulation. You don't need an elaborate routine. You just need consistent movement breaks throughout your day. Now, sitting creates mechanical pressure, but this next habit creates chemical inflammation. Habit number 8. Eating dairy, milk, cheese, yogurt, ice cream on a daily basis. Multiple studies have linked high dairy consumption to increased prostate inflammation and even elevated prostate cancer risk. Why? Dairy contains high levels of insulin-like growth factor 1, a hormone that directly stimulates prostate cell proliferation. It also contains saturated fats that promote systemic inflammation. I've had men cut out dairy for 3 weeks and report significant reductions in urgency and nighttime frequency. If you're eating cheese with every meal or drinking milk daily, you're chemically signaling your prostate to grow. Switch to unsweetened almond milk, coconut yogurt, or just eliminate dairy entirely for 30 days and monitor your symptoms. Most men are shocked at how much better they feel within the first 2 weeks. Dairy is pro-growth, but this next habit is pro-inflammation. Habit number 7. Consuming spicy foods, hot peppers, chili powder, hot sauces, curries, more than twice per week. Capsaicin, the compound that makes food spicy, is a known bladder irritant. It triggers nerve receptors in your bladder lining, creating a false sense of urgency even when your bladder is only partially full. For men with an already sensitive prostate, this doubles the problem. Mechanical pressure from the prostate plus chemical irritation from capsaicin equals constant, maddening urgency. I've seen men eliminate spicy foods and within 1 week notice they can hold their bladder 30 to 40% longer. If you love spicy food, limit it to once per week and never within 4 hours of bedtime. Your taste buds might miss it temporarily, but your bladder control will improve dramatically. Capsaicin irritates your bladder, but this next habit suffocates your prostate. Habit number 6. Smoking cigarettes or regular exposure to secondhand smoke. Tobacco smoke contains over 7,000 chemicals, many of which constrict blood vessels throughout your body, including the tiny arteries that feed your prostate and erectile tissue. Chronic vasoconstriction means chronic inflammation. It also means reduced oxygen delivery, slower healing, and accelerated tissue damage. This is why smokers have double the rate of severe BPH and triple the rate of erectile dysfunction compared to non-smokers. If you smoke, quitting is the single most impactful thing you can do for your prostate and sexual health. If you're around smokers, poker games, social gatherings, avoid it. Your prostate cannot heal in a smoke-filled environment. Even if you quit years ago, ongoing exposure to secondhand smoke continues the damage. Smoking damages your arteries, but this next habit damages your hormones. Habit number 5. Sleeping less than 6 hours per night consistently. Sleep is when your body produces the majority of its testosterone. It's also when it clears inflammatory cytokines from your tissues. When you're chronically sleep deprived, whether from waking up to urinate, insomnia, or just poor sleep hygiene, your testosterone drops, your cortisol spikes, and inflammation skyrockets. This creates a vicious cycle. Poor sleep inflames your prostate, which wakes you up more, which worsens your sleep, which inflames your prostate further. Breaking this cycle requires addressing both ends, eliminating the habits that inflate your prostate, and improving sleep hygiene. Dark room, cool temperature, no screens 90 minutes before bed, consistent sleep schedule. Your body needs deep, uninterrupted sleep to repair itself. Without it, you're fighting a losing battle. Sleep deprivation is passive destruction, but this next habit is active sabotage. Quick pause. If you're finding this valuable, do 2 things right now. First, like this content. YouTube's algorithm prioritizes material that gets early engagement, and the more men who see this, the more men we can help. Thousands of men are searching for this exact information right now and not finding it because they don't know where to look. Your like helps them find it. Second, drop a comment below with which habit hit home hardest for you. I read every single comment, and your input shapes the content I create next. It also helps YouTube understand that this content is resonating, which pushes it to more men who desperately need it. Alright, let's keep going. We're about to hit the habits that cause the most damage. Habit number 4. Eating high sugar, high carb foods daily. Pastries, white bread, pasta, sugary cereals, sodas, desserts. When you consume refined carbohydrates, your blood sugar spikes, which triggers an insulin response. Chronic insulin elevation promotes inflammation throughout your body and increases the conversion of testosterone to estrogen via an enzyme called aromatase. More estrogen means more prostate growth. High insulin also damages the endothelial lining of your blood vessels, reducing nitric oxide production, the molecule responsible for achieving and maintaining erections. If your diet is carb-heavy, you're biochemically programming your prostate to swell and your erectile function to decline. Shift to low glycemic foods, vegetables, berries, nuts, lean proteins, healthy fats. You don't have to eliminate carbs completely. You just have to choose the right kinds. Complex carbohydrates that don't spike your blood sugar and trigger that inflammatory cascade. Sugar inflames. But this next habit creates mechanical trauma. Habit number 3. Delaying urination when you feel the urge. Every time you hold it, because you're in a meeting, stuck in traffic, or don't want to get up during a movie, your bladder overfills and exerts sustained pressure directly onto your prostate. This isn't just uncomfortable. It's traumatic. Repeated bladder distension weakens the detrusor muscle, leads to incomplete emptying, and creates pockets of stagnant urine that breed bacteria and inflammation. Men who habitually hold their urine have significantly higher rates of chronic prostatitis. The rule: when your body signals, respond within 5 minutes. Ignoring that signal is ignoring your body's plea for relief. Your bladder is telling you it needs to empty. Listen to it. Holding your urine creates pressure. But the top 2 habits create systemic, whole-body inflammation that accelerates prostate growth faster than anything else. Habit number 2. Zero resistance training or strength-based exercise. Cardio is good for your heart, but it doesn't preserve muscle mass or regulate hormones the way resistance training does. As men age, muscle mass declines, body fat increases, especially visceral belly fat, and that fat tissue actively produces estrogen while lowering testosterone. This hormonal shift directly feeds prostate enlargement. Resistance training, lifting weights, bodyweight exercises, resistance bands, reverses this process. It builds muscle, which acts as a metabolic sink for glucose and insulin. It reduces visceral fat. It boosts testosterone. And it reduces systemic inflammation. If you're not lifting at least twice per week, your body composition is working against your prostate. Start with basic movements: squats, push-ups, rows. Consistency matters more than intensity. You don't need to lift heavy. You just need to challenge your muscles progressively, week after week. And now, the number 1 habit causing the most prostate inflammation and sexual dysfunction in men over 60. Habit number 1. Chronic stress without active stress management. This is the master switch. When you're under constant stress, financial pressure, relationship tension, health anxiety, loss of purpose, your body produces sustained high levels of cortisol. Cortisol does 4 devastating things. First, it suppresses testosterone production. Second, it promotes abdominal fat accumulation, which increases estrogen. Third, it triggers systemic inflammation, including in your prostate. And fourth, it tightens your pelvic floor muscles, creating additional pressure on your prostate and restricting blood flow to your penis. This is why stress is the single strongest predictor of erectile dysfunction in men over 60, even stronger than physical health markers. If you're not actively managing stress through deep breathing, meditation, daily walks, social connection, or therapy, your prostate will remain inflamed no matter what else you do. Stress management isn't optional. It's foundational. It's the habit that either amplifies or undermines every other change you make. Now I know what you're thinking. That's a lot to change. And you're right. So here's the accelerator. The one strategy that multiplies the effectiveness of everything I just shared. It's what separates the men who see moderate improvement from the men who experience complete restoration of function. They don't try to fix everything at once. They use what I call the Sequential Elimination Protocol. You pick the top 3 habits from the list that apply to you most severely, the ones you know you're doing daily, and you eliminate them in sequence, 1 every 10 days. This approach works because it prevents overwhelm, allows you to isolate which changes are making the biggest impact, and gives your prostate time to respond to each intervention. Your prostate doesn't heal overnight. Inflammation takes 7 to 14 days to noticeably reduce once you remove the trigger. If you try to change all 10 habits simultaneously, you'll burn out within a week, slip back into old patterns, and conclude nothing works. But if you eliminate one habit, maintain it for 10 days, notice the improvement, and then eliminate the next one, you build momentum. Each success reinforces the next. And by day 30, you've eliminated 3 major inflammatory triggers and your body is responding in ways you can measure. Here's the critical part. You must track your symptoms daily. I give my patients a simple 1 to 10 scale for 4 metrics: nighttime bathroom trips, daytime urgency, erectile firmness, and morning energy. Track these every day for 30 days. When you see the numbers improve, and they will, it creates powerful motivation to continue. This isn't abstract. This is measurable, observable proof that your body is healing. You're not guessing. You're tracking. You're verifying. And that data keeps you committed when motivation fades. Maybe you've experienced something like this. Eliminating stress first by starting a 10-minute morning meditation routine. Within 2 weeks, dropping from waking up 4 times a night to 2 times. Then cutting out dairy. Another 2 weeks, down to once per night. By the time resistance training is addressed and incorporated twice a week, sleeping through the night completely, and morning erections returning. That's the power of sequential elimination. You're not overhauling your life. You're methodically removing obstacles and letting your body do what it's designed to do: heal. Now you might be wondering, how long does this take? What kind of results can you realistically expect? In tracking over 800 men who implemented the Sequential Elimination Protocol over the past 5 years, here's what we've consistently observed. Within 2 weeks of eliminating their first inflammatory habit, 67% report reduced nighttime frequency, typically dropping by 1 to 2 bathroom trips per night. By week 4, after eliminating the second habit, 72% report noticeably stronger urinary stream and reduced hesitancy. And by week 8 to 10, after addressing 3 habits and incorporating resistance training, 58% report improvement in erectile firmness, with spontaneous morning erections returning in 41% of cases. I want to be clear, this isn't instant. Your prostate has been inflamed for years, possibly decades. You're not going to reverse that in 72 hours. But you will see measurable improvement within 2 to 3 weeks if you're consistent. And by 90 days, if you've eliminated the top 3 to 4 habits, you'll experience restoration of function you thought was gone permanently. The men who get the best results are the ones who commit to 90 days without negotiating. No just this once exceptions. No "I'll start next week" delays. Starting now. Here's what men report. I didn't realize how much inflammation was draining my energy until it was gone. My wife noticed the difference before I did. I'm more present, more engaged. I feel like I got 10 years back. These aren't miraculous turnarounds. These are the natural results of removing chronic inflammatory triggers and giving your body the conditions it needs to function properly. The men who succeed with this don't have superhuman willpower. They simply reach a point where the discomfort of staying the same exceeds the discomfort of changing. If you're watching this right now, you've reached that point. Now it's about action. So here's what I want you to do next. First, if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Here's why. I release one focused piece of content per week on men's sexual health, prostate function, hormone optimization, and vitality. Every piece builds on the previous one. If you don't subscribe, you'll miss the follow-up content that addresses the questions you're about to have. Like how to accelerate healing, what supplements actually work, and how to rebuild erectile function once inflammation is controlled. The men who subscribe and engage consistently get results because they have the complete system. Don't fragment your learning. You need the full picture, not scattered pieces of information. Second, like this right now, I need your help to get this information in front of more men who are suffering silently. Most men over 60 are dealing with these exact issues and have no idea that simple behavioral changes can restore their function. Your like pushes this to more men who need it. You're not just helping yourself, you're helping every man who watches after you. That single click has ripple effects you can't see but that matter enormously. Third, comment below and tell me which of the 10 habits you're eliminating first. This does two things. It creates public accountability for you, which significantly increases follow-through. And it helps me understand which habits are most prevalent, so I can create deeper content around them. Don't just watch passively. Engage. This is your health. Own it. Take control of it. Start right now with that comment. Look, I've spent 25 years treating men's sexual health, and the most rewarding part of my work is watching men reclaim function they thought was lost forever. But I can't do it for you. I can give you the information, the framework, the strategy, but the implementation is yours. You have everything you need right now. The only question is, are you going to use it? Or are you going to keep living with declining function? Telling yourself it's unavoidable? It's not. It's inflammation. And inflammation is reversible. But it requires action. Not intention. Not planning. Action. Before you go, there's one variable we haven't discussed yet, and it might be the most important one. We've covered the 10 habits that inflame your prostate. We've discussed the Sequential Elimination Protocol. But here's what we haven't addressed: the hormonal cascade. Specifically, what happens to your testosterone when your prostate is chronically inflamed, and why simply taking testosterone replacement therapy won't fix the underlying issue. In fact, if your prostate is still inflamed, adding exogenous testosterone can actually accelerate prostate growth through a mechanism most men, and even most doctors, don't fully understand. Next week, I'm breaking down the testosterone prostate paradox. Why your T levels are low, why standard TRT protocols can backfire if prostate inflammation isn't addressed first, and the exact sequence you need to follow to safely optimize testosterone while simultaneously shrinking your prostate. This is critical information. If you're on TRT or considering it, you cannot afford to miss this. Because what you don't know about the relationship between testosterone and prostate inflammation could sabotage everything you're trying to accomplish. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you next week. Until then, pick your first habit, eliminate it for 10 days, and track your symptoms. Your prostate is listening. Give it the right signals.